No, I'm not wearing eyeliner today. Just because I feel like it. I've got to go see the horse. I got to go for a power walk, and I got to go clean the garden out. So I'm kind of here. Let's do some house cleaning. First of all, no trolling. If you come in here and start shit, you're banned. All right. Just that's it. Let's see what else. No getting into fights with your fellow chat members or with me. You're banned. This is a Star Wars channel. That's all we talk about. I mean, we try to talk about that unless Indiana Jones comes up. Lots of news coming down the pipe. Lots of news. So let's get into it. First off, I want to talk about something that I didn't make a video of, and I should have. Nelson Peltz cashed out of his Disney stock, and he sold it after the proxy fight was done. I think it reached about $123 a share. He sold it at $120, and so he made about, let's go look, I think he made like almost $2 billion. He earned $1 billion just in what he invested, so that was a pretty good, deal. He was able to force the stock to go up, and then, when the bid failed, he just cashed out. Now, that shows you what kind of a resilient businessman he is. Hey, Musk, how you doing? Peltz has always been a very, very good businessman. Okay, so he knows what he's doing, and he pushed, he pushed the stock up and cashed out, made out like a bandit, and everybody else, who stayed, lost money because now it's back. Let's see where it is. I do have a stock ticker. So it's up to 101.84 with 85.7 billion shares. So looks like everything's up. Tesla's up, but the Dow and the S&P are down. I would say, he could always do it again. Okay, and he said he's not. He has said he's not done. And so I would suggest that he's probably going to come back if Iger doesn't right the ship. And he'll bring friends, and not just Ike Perlmutter. He'll bring Elon Musk, okay? Which, the world's richest man, it's like, there you go. I think George coming out in support of Iger was, I wonder, you have to believe, if you don't believe this, you're a fucking idiot, that there was a quid pro quo. Because I don't think George Lucas would have wasted 5 minutes with Bob Iger. And, well, I mean, you don't know. I mean, again, you got to ask yourself, what kind of quid pro quo is there? Okay. And the way George was talking a week ago tomorrow about woke Disney, and them not clapping back, like they did when he made the white slavers comment. To me, it seems like George is pretty much off the leash. Okay, so this is kind of a big deal. If Disney does not right itself, and it now being at 101.85. It was down to 100 yesterday. It being right there is not good. Again, if it goes under 100 again, you're going to hear calls for Iger's head. Okay, look, the shareholders deserve better. Okay, now I've seen where the opening box office for Inside Out 2 is supposed to be like 85 million. I don't know. I'm just quoting that. Not that I care, but this year's been a really soft box office. Okay, so when you hear them bragging, this thing made $20 million. That's bad. That's bad. Okay. So anyway, I mean, I want to talk a little bit about Peltz. So let's talk about the Leslye Headland revelations. So I went and got, yeah, very fun. That's a good one. I went out and got a free subscription to the New York Times so I could read this. So this is reporting by Brooks Barnes. He's on X if you want to ask him, and you're on X and you want to say, what the fuck, why did you let her get away with this? You had her dead to rights. You know, so he writes, Leslye Headland has been telling Star Wars stories on screen since she was a teenager. Oh, this is bullshit, by the way. This is absolute fucking bullshit. Just like I said in my upload. Ostracized at school for being different, she retreated inward, making stop-motion films starring her action figures. You know, and I mean, she made art. So when she found success as an adult in Hollywood, Headland helped create Russian Doll, the 2019 Netflix comedy starring Natasha Lyonne, and got the chance to create an actual Star Wars show. It was the realization of a lifelong dream and a chance at a humiliating failure. And I essentially cold called Lucasfilm, and after a lot of conversations, found myself pitching a show, utterly elated, my ultimate career goal, the culmination of my fandom. And you're gone. You fucking trolls can go fuck themselves. So she says, I essentially cold called Lucasfilm, and after a lot of conversation, blah, 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 culmination of my fandom, Headland said, at the time, I would be lying if I said I wasn't scared. There was so much pressure. It's extreme. I had never done anything like this big before. Hey, Soy-Based Jeremy, how are you? Headland's show, The Acolyte, will debut on Disney Plus on June 4th, costing roughly $180 million. Good. $180 million. All right, I want to ask you guys, you've all seen at least one trailer. Did you see any of that 180 million? Yeah, she could stop it. Of course. Pleasing attempts 2 feats at once. Pleasing Star Wars fans, old school Star Wars fans who can seem unpleasable while telling an entirely new story. Stop it. For the faithful, The Acolyte serves up scads of Jedi, a franchise fundamental that other live-action Star Wars shows have depicted sparingly or not at all. The opening scene of The Acolyte takes place in an eatery with colorful aliens, a callback to the Mos Eisley Cantina. And of course, we've got Shout outs like, may the force be with you, and I have a bad feeling about this. Wow. 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 Like, that's going to fix everything she's ever said about George Lucas publicly. You've seen it in my, you've seen it on the videos. In fact, I've got them in the latest upload. Yeah, and, look, here's the deal. All Star Wars fans ever wanted was good Star Wars, and we have gotten very little of that. I mean, Rogue One was okay, because it didn't fuck with the lore, and then they made Andor, and it's like, oh God. I wanted to blind myself. I mean, it was like, what am I, what is this shit? And of course, everybody, has their opinions about the other stuff, and I love The Mandalorian. I thought Ahsoka was great. I could have done without Sabine Wren. I don't like her. I've made it very clear that I don't like her. But look, when I was a kid, I didn't like Luke. I thought he was a little crybaby. When I was a kid, I didn't like Lando. I thought he was like Judas Iscariot. You know what I'm saying? That's how you learn to discern and have critical thinking skills. You don't have to like everything on the plate, but the overall story is great. Okay, and that's how I go into watching Star Wars. If it's just shit from the moment it starts, and/or, and you know, no, I thought Kenobi was great. I don't want to talk about it. If you could watch that and not be moved by the fight between Vader and Kenobi, I don't know if you're much of a Star Wars fan. And I'm going to say that because I cried. All right, I cried. Hayden was brilliant. The part I didn't like about it was Reva. And again, people like Leslye Headland, excuse me, I gotta do this. My nose loves to do that. When you're watching, when you bring up Reva, she's not a good, the girl playing her, Moses Ingram, is not a good actress. She's just not. From the moment you see her, she's trying too hard. And it's like, a natural actress doesn't have to try too hard. All right? A natural actress doesn't have to pretend. And what they're doing right here, and I wanted to bring this up, we'll get through all the lies that Headland told. What they're doing here is they're already doing, yes, I've read it. I love that. That's one of my favorite books. I think that is my favorite EU book. Tatooine Ghost is a really well-crafted story. And it really gives agency to Han and how who he is and his curiosity and helps Leia come to terms with Anakin. Okay, I loved that. I thought that was, we don't get that. We get drunk deadbeat dad Han Solo and disgruntled, demoted General Leia. It's like, but that's for another story. What they're doing here is a Last Jedi, but it's it's gonna bomb blitz of the fans, blah blah blah. So let's go further. Also, they did a Zoom interview with her. Yeah, I mean, Jeremy's right. let's see. You know, they sit there and say, you know, that they're not breaking canon, but the way she talks about the prequel trilogy in that video, and I'm going to assume, Jeremy, you've seen that video, you know, where she brings up George being a misogynist. And then she brings up the fact that he wasn't smart enough to, hi, Mike, you know, Ralph McQuarrie. It's like, dumb bitch, he did hire Ralph McQuarrie in 1970. What? When, you know, I'm trying to figure out what the timeline is. I want to say 75, but I think it was 1972. George was already thinking about Star Wars. And so he, you know, I think got a hold of Alan Ladd Jr., who was the executive who really helped him. A great man too. I have a friend named Sarah Ann Fox who has worked in movies for a long time, and it's really interesting to me because she knew Alan Ladd Jr. and said he was an impeccable man. She also knew Robert Evans and said he was an impeccable man. Al Ruddy, on the other hand, God bless his soul, he just died. May his memory be a blessing. He liked to talk too much. He was very proud of himself. Great producer though. Okay, Al Ruddy produced The Godfather, the first one, by himself, and he's the last person to be able to do that for an Academy Award winner. So you're kind of going, wow. Okay, I mean, he's, you know, but you're talking about shades of ego when you get to the Al Ruddy, Robert Evans, Alan Ladd Jr. stage. Yeah, and you know, Alan Ladd Jr. looked at the McQuarrie stuff that George brought him and said, okay, let's roll the dice. And that's what happened. But Leslye, George hired him. The disparaging way she talks about him. And, you know, I'm going to be honest. The reason why these people talk about George Lucas like that is because they don't like his independence. They got pissed off at him that he made so much money on the marketing. And he can do whatever he wants. And they can't control him. Okay. And of course, you know, if they have the money, fine. But these are people with more money they could ever spend in their lives bitching about other people's money. You know, Elon Musk. All right. You know, I'm on on X a lot. I got a subscription to X Prime. I like it. I might start doing an X show live video stream. Yeah, maybe once every couple days. So yeah, and and that's what they missed, and that was it was very, very sad that they would do that. But you know, you've got Leslye Headland. I mean, all right. So I'm going to give you a little story about her. This is one of the writers, Jocelyn. I'm going to pronounce it Bio. She's from Ghana, so she's a woman of color. And Bio was not a Star Wars fan. Headland asked her what she knew about Star Wars, and my answer was Harrison Ford runs around space with a giant dog. And Bio recalled laughing. It's not funny. You're supposed to be a Star Wars writer. And Leslye said you're hired. Now, the first Acolyte trailer, he says, released in March, racked up 51 million views in its first 24 hours. I hope this is an aggregate of all the different places that had it. So let's go and find out what the views are for the first trailer. Da 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 da. All right, so official trailer. Well, on the official Star Wars channel, it's only 50, or it's only 10 million. So that is a load of shit. You know, so you're like looking at him going, no. Oh, stop it. Okay. You know, the Acolyte trailer with others expressing similar worldviews. And of course, you know, it's a version of the same misogyny Star Wars has pushed back, you know, version of the same misogyny that created Rey, the female Jedi played by, she's not a Jedi, and Kelly Marie Tran. And if you know the story about what really happened with Kelly Marie Tran, ask Jason Ward. Okay, he was the one that planted that shit on Wikipedia. Okay, up here, Kathleen Kennedy, who runs Lucasfilm, has also experienced it with South Park harshly attacking her in an episode last year. The cartoon depicted Kennedy giving the same feedback. Put a chick in it, make her lame and gay. That's what she says. That's what she says. Look, if you don't want Trey Parker and Matt Stone to come after you, don't do stupid shit. Don't do stupid shit in public. Don't make an ass of yourself enough to be parodied. Like, get in your way back machine. Year 2000. Anakin's red lightsaber. Vader's red lightsaber. It does point to money laundering. But do you guys remember the episodes where Rosie O'Donnell was lampooned and then Barbara Streisand was Mecha Streisand? And like Rosie O'Donnell's, and there's a big blob, and Rosie O'Donnell's running beside it, and Soldier goes, "Sir, there's two of them now." I mean, you know, and of course Mecha Streisand, they were the funniest things I've ever seen in my life, because people like Barbara Streisand and people like Rosie O'Donnell deserve to be lampooned, just like Kathleen Kennedy. She got everything she deserved. Everything she deserved, okay, with the South Park. Those guys don't do that shit in a box or in a vacuum, all right? And if you see the one about obesity, I watched the whole thing and it wasn't really that funny, but Barbara Streisand just recently made an ass of herself by asking, oh, who's that fat comedian? She was in that horrible TV show, Bridesmaids, her movie, Bridesmaids. I can't remember what. I based Jeremy is right. The fact of the matter is that the lady lost some weight. First thing that comes out of, 85-year-old Barbara's mouth is, are you using Ozempic? I'm going on a little bit of a rant. I have people near and dear to me that are diabetic, pre-diabetic. They are not morbidly obese. But Ozempic is for people with diabetes to help them lose weight. It is not for, I'm going to say this, and I love Sharon Osbourne, it's not for her to lose weight. It is not for Barbara Streisand to lose weight if she's not diabetic. It is dangerous for these people to take it. They take it anyway. So South Park is attacking that stupidity. And then people who can't afford Ozempic are told body positivity stuff and to take Lizzo. Okay, I'm going to sound like I'm fat shaming. I am a former anorexic. I am not as skinny as I used to be. I was just thinking about 20 years ago today, I probably weighed 115 pounds and had 15% body fat. Okay, I was working out. I'd gotten a trainer. We'd gotten married, and I didn't want to leave because I was starting to get into really, really good shape. And in Hawaii, you spend a lot of time on the beach getting a tan, right? So that's what I did. And we had a young Malinois German Shepherd Cross named Gunner, and you really have to be on your toes with a Malinois. It's like having a circus freak in your house, and they can be really destructive. And they're really hard to deal with. They're extremely intelligent. Gunner was really good at counter surfing, tearing apart the couch, rugs, etc. if you didn't get enough exercise. So, I was on the move all the time. And if we would go out, I would have like a glass of wine or a Cosmo or a martini, and that would be it. I mean, that alcohol was for the weekend. Okay, and that's a good thing that I think people who enjoy luxuries, and I look at wine as being a luxury, to do. Okay, I don't want to fat shame, but when I have people around me who are large, complaining incessantly about being large, and I would get sick of it and say, go to the gym. Stop eating crap. Get out and stuff. Soy-based Jeremy's right. Get out, go do stuff, and quit telling me about it. I work out. That was when you live on a military base, and my husband would be off on training, like to the Big Island. There's a big training area on the Big Island of Hawaii, and we were an artillery battalion, and hang out with the wives maybe once a week, and I don't like that. I find women can be really catty and mean to each other, and they really don't like anybody. There's a lot of petty jealousy and shit like that I didn't want to deal with. I was the lieutenant colonel's, the commander's wife, and I was like, this is not for me. So I tried to lay low, and I got shit for that. If you put me in a situation where I don't know people, and you can always feel like you're getting the death stare, you know it. You don't want to be in that anymore. Okay, you don't want to be in that. It's bullshit. So, and I'm sorry. I weighed a lot less than a lot of these women. They had families they had to take care of. I understand. I never said anything nasty about whatever. But I realized that I was being fit shamed by women that were younger than me, who, if they just worked on speeding up their metabolism, 5 small meals a day. That's all you have to do. Take something you like to eat, cut it into thirds, and then eat healthy snacks. That's it. And you'll see a difference. Your hunger will go down. It'll speed up your metabolism because your stomach's never empty. And you'll have more energy to work out. There you go. So, South Park did that, and it wasn't that funny, but there was a bite to it. There was a bite saying, if you need to lose weight, you whatever, okay. But don't use Ozempic and how dangerous it is. Okay, so we're going back to Headland. I gotta find this quote by Kennedy. All right, some trolls have nicknamed Headland's series the Wokalite. No, it's the Trasholyte. Okay. In a brief interview, Kennedy's support for the acolyte was steadfast. My belief in story is that storytelling does need to represent all people. That's an easy decision for me. All right, if you can find a white man in the cast, then I'll believe every word she says. Operating within these giant franchises now, with social media and the level of expectation, it's terrifying. I think Leslye has struggled a little bit with it. I think a lot of women who step into Star Wars struggle with it a bit more because the fan base is being so male dominated. They sometimes get attacked in ways that can be quite personal. Yeah, and soy-based Jeremy is right. So, all right, so Kennedy says that. All right, the reason why they gave Leia so much shit and ruined her, demoted her from princess to general, is because they think any woman who can remain feminine and beautiful and can navigate a world of men, which, Leia, like so many women in real life, leadership roles, Golda Meir, Margaret Thatcher, you name it, Sherry Lansing, Lucille Ball, and never forgot they were women and liked being women. Women like that are terrifying to Kathleen Kennedy because she could never, ever navigate a world where Steven Spielberg and George Lucas called the shots. Where, an alpha male like, George Lucas called the shots. And we're talking about Leslye Headland too, basically turned a blind eye to what Harvey Weinstein was doing to young actresses. And you can bet your sweet Bippy, she was part of the introductions. Okay? All right? All right. Well, she, what I love about this is, Headland goes on to say, as a fan myself, I know how frustrating some Star Wars storytelling in the past has been. She's alluding not to Kennedy. She's alluding to George Lucas and the prequels. Again, if you don't like the prequels and you're spouting Hollywood cocktail garbage and attacking George for being a racist, he's not. Being a misogynist, he's the one that created Leia. Right? You're the ones that took her title of princess away from her. And don't give me the lame excuse that, well, Claudia Gray, blah, 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 fuck her. And that stupid rock geode. Okay? My opinion. All right. What they've done is that they've erased the essential femininity of the female characters. All right. Yeah, she was. And, the last time she was seen in public before she died, it was at the Oscars. And Frank Sinatra had her come out. Okay. You look at this and go, those women were so much tougher than these two broads. All right. They were so much tougher than, oh, my caffeine's coming to bother me again. I'm almost going to probably have to give up drinking caffeine. They were so much tougher than these two broads because they could be women. They could wear dresses. They could be sexy and feminine and run the show. All right. I mean, Sherry Lansing, my God, she ran, was it Paramount? After Bob Evans left, or after? No, this was after Robert Evans left. And it's like, I have a really hard time with this garbage that it's terrifying. Why is it terrifying? You know, I look at Kathleen Kennedy when I was a kid, when I was 12 and 13, and I saw she was working with Steven Spielberg, and she had helped on Raiders of the Lost Ark, and was starting to make a name of for herself. I thought that's the job I want. I want her to be a singer. Okay, scorpion pepper. Okay, well, I'm growing a ghost pepper in my garden, so we'll see how that puppy goes. I have to go check on it in a bit. Probably after I see the horse. I can't decide after I see K or before I see K. I can't, whatever. You know, I wanted to be a singer. And after seeing Star Wars, the first one, I wanted to be an actress. And I was completely head over heels in love with Harrison Ford. All the girls in my neighborhood loved Sean, Cassidy, and Parker Stevenson, and John Schneider. And I was like, he was just a revelation to me, so handsome. And and then after seeing George interviewed and seeing that, you know, they used to make these great making of documentaries, like the blue screen before they did green screen. All the rest of that stuff is so cool. The models. You know, they'd have Ben Burt on and other people talking about everything from, you know, the special effects, the explosions, etc., to the sound. And then, of course, John Williams with the music. And I was fascinated, and I wanted to do this so badly. And, of course, Steven Spielberg just lit the fire. And, you know, you look at, when you're a kid, you don't, I don't think identifying with a male actor or a male director as being derogatory for a girl. I don't really think identifying with Leia is derogatory for a girl. I don't understand what these people want. You know, I'll read this to you. Headland has tried to limit her exposure to the online conversation, both good and bad, instead relying on her friends for weather reports. And then she says, as a fan myself, I think I'm repeating myself, but let me, yeah, she was, Mike. As a fan myself, and how frustrating some Star Wars storytelling has been, she's attacking George, been in the past, Headland said, declining to cite specific examples. I felt it myself. No, she's attacking the prequels. That's exactly what she's doing, because she's done it before. Headland followed up with the text message, I stand by my empathy for Star Wars fans, but I want it to be clear, anyone who engages in bigotry, racism, or hate speech, I don't consider a fan. Who's done that, you stupid bitch? So, if it comes out that Amanda Stenberg's character sucks, she can't act, we're going to be racist and bigots, and we're not, therefore not fans. Couldn't be because the girl can't act, like Moses Ingram, and like, I can never remember her name, the chick that plays Sabine, you know, whatever, right? Or, you know, Phoebe Waller-Bridge, which incidentally enough, Kennedy has never brought her up. And I know why. Because that movie didn't lose $145 million. It lost probably $300 million. Okay, it's the biggest loss in film history. And it breaks my heart for Harrison Ford because he loves the character. John Rhys Davies, he loves the character. All right. But when you piss off Steven Spielberg to the point where he walks away from the director's chair, okay, I mean, there's a reason why. There's a reason why. he threw Kennedy under the bus last summer because she's a failure and he's done with her. Now, that doesn't mean that their business partnership is done. It just means that he basically pulled this curtain back, and here's the idiot. Okay. So, I mean, then they talked to Ryan Johnson. I mean, he says that he didn't try to, back in 2017, he didn't try to put his own stamp on Star Wars. Yeah, that's her. Natasha Lou Bordizzo, look, that character should have been a man. If you're going to play her that smug, then give her male equipment and name her something else, okay? Because I don't like smugness in a woman. It's one of the reasons why I hated Helena Shaw in Indy 5. I'm looking at her going, you are a slag. Who the, so, Ryan Johnson says he didn't try to put his own stamp on Star Wars when he directed The Last Jedi. That is bullshit. Every time. I mean, this thing is nothing but whiny baby shit. I mean, he said at the time it would be bad news if you came into this saying, how do I make this mine? Yeah, Melissa McCarthy, yep. I'll go back to that. Streisand publicly asked her if she was using Ozempic. And it's just... Well, I'm going to see if this thing even grows peppers. I happen to like spicy food, so we'll see where it goes. But he says, how do I make this mine? It would be bad if I did that. You did everything but screw it, dude. I mean, The Last Jedi couldn't belong more to Ryan Johnson and indirectly to the guy that helped him write the script, Paulo Hidalgo, if they gave birth to it. All right? I mean, there's that. So Kennedy, however, pushed Headland to do just that with The Acolyte. You've written a great Star Wars show, Kennedy told her in 2019 in response to early scripts. Now go and write a Leslye Headland show. Yeah, I mean, yeah, she was probably the weekend of the show. I was really prepared for Ezra to be just. I mean, I tolerated Sabine in the cartoon. I hate her in the live action. I didn't like Ezra in the cartoon. I love him in the action. The guy that plays him is a good actor. He's handsome as all get out. I mean, he's a hottie. He really is. I mean, he is he's gorgeous. So we're gonna have the Leslye Headland show. Thank you, Kathy, for that. All right, but this isn't any different than Tony Gilroy telling the writers in the Andor writers' room to not bring anything you loved about Star Wars into the writers' room. Okay. Kennedy had read one of Headland's plays, Cult of Love, which explores a complicated relationship between siblings. It's about her personal experience, and it was just so well done and incredibly emotional. I remember reading that and saying, Leslye, this is exactly what you should tap into as you write this story for us. You're not here to tell us your life story. You're here to write Star Wars. All right. Explain exactly how Headland took Kennedy's advice would spoil a major plot point. Well, it's already spoiled. In the second, or one of the clips they posted on the Star Wars channel, they out Amanda Stenberg's character May, M-A-E, as the bad guy, and she's pissed off at her former master, played by Lee Jung Jae, okay, from Squid Game. Thanks. It's basically Obi-Wan Kenobi versus Anakin Skywalker all over again. But, you know, whatever. All right, so she says, I have a very strained relationship with my youngest sister. And I feel like one of the reasons it is strained is that we see both see each other as the bad guy. I bet you if I asked her youngest sister about this, Leslye would be the bad guy. And if I was going to tell a story about bad guys, it seemed to me that the place to start should be a familial relationship where one person is adamantly convinced of her correctness and the other is also adamantly convinced of her correctness. We don't speak. Okay, so we're all supposed to sit there and play our tiny violins because Leslye Headland probably drove her younger sister away. Kind of like what happened in my family. Do you hear me complaining about it and sticking it everywhere? No. If you want to write about that, but leave it out of Star Wars. Because, look, to me, when I see that familiar relationship issue, I think of Obi-Wan Kenobi and Anakin Skywalker. That's what I get. So really, she's not doing anything original. She's just putting her personal drama into something that we don't need to see. And we shouldn't want to see it. She wouldn't say anything more on the topic except to emphasize that she has a good relationship with her other sister who helped make a visual presentation that Headland used to pitch The Acolyte to Lucasfilm. Okay, fine, I'm not gonna read this anymore. This just highlights, I think, what a stupid idea it was to hire this woman. Okay, it highlights what an asinine idea and we're stuck with it. Okay, we're stuck with Leslye Headland doing a movie she had no reason to do. Okay, so anyway, I gotta go down and look at the garden, and then I am going to go look at okay. If she's in the barn today, I will. If she's not out in her pasture, I'll probably groom her and everything. And so Ray Stevenson, yeah. Then I'll probably go for a walk. I don't know. Anyway, I gotta run. I have a dog behind me. Kojak. Coach. Come here. Come on, come. Come on. Here he comes. The big furry man wants to go out and play with the hose. Here he is. Say hi to everybody. Koji. Come here, Coach. All right. There he is, Kojak. He's ignoring me completely. I'm sorry. Anyway, I gotta rock, so you guys have a good afternoon. and I'll see you around the galaxy.